everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining in. This has been an interesting experience starting a new YouTube channel, but I'm working on it. I wanted to do this outside, but the wind is blowing pretty good and I didn't want all the interference in the phone. So welcome to my bedroom. Yes, it's purple. I like purple. Anyway, I promised you guys I would do this, so let's talk about Kundalini. Yes, I said Kundalini. Oh my god. So there's like two types of people. Maybe three. So they're the ones that are scared to death of it, thinking it's evil. Then there's the other types of people that are really curious about it. And nope, I think that's about it. You're either curious or you're scared to death of it. One or the other. I've already had it and I'm freaking out. I personally, my story, I had an abrupt Kundalini awakening, and when I did have one, I had never even heard the term Kundalini before. Yeah, Kundalini. What is Kundalini? Kundalini, you know, I've never had a guru to help me out with any of this stuff. I've never had anybody besides just my internet searching and using my intuition on what was false and what was right and wrong. Kundalini is a life force energy that we all have, and as we're conceived, the Kundalini energy is alive in our creation while we are in our mother's womb. It helps form all of our cells, bodies, ligaments, muscles, everything to do with our bodies. Once our body is physically formed, then it goes back and lays dormant at the base of the spine. And 9 times out of 10, you can't wake it up. You can't force a Kundalini awakening. I'm sorry to tell you, it just does not happen by forcefully making it happen. I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad that are doing Kundalini yoga and going to gurus and stuff and trying to make their Kundalini awaken. If your soul does not have a contract to awaken your Kundalini in this lifetime, it doesn't matter what you do, it ain't going to happen. There are thousands of people around the world that are having spontaneous Kundalini awakens, and there's millions of people on this planet that are trying like heck between meditation and yoga and eating and breathing and gurus and everything they can to try to wake up their Kundalini and are not successful. Okay? You are either going to have one or you're going to have not one. There's no in between. You can't force it to happen. And the Kundalini is an energy force inside your body. You can call it chi, prana, Kundalini, whatever you want to call it. It's just a life force energy that lies in your body, lies dormant. Okay. Now, the Kundalini energy, if you want to talk about body and physics and quantum physics and really get technical about it, your body is nothing but electrical energy. Your body is just energy. And your body has the ability of producing 70 trillion volts of energy. Now, think about that. What is 70 trillion volts of energy? I'm not making this stuff up. Trust me. I've done scientific research on stuff that I've been talking about. I'm not going to feed you guys any line of BS that I have not either physically felt, dealt with, or completely looked it up and made sure that what I'm giving you is my God's honest truth. I don't lie. I've never been a liar. I only seek the truth and speak the truth. That's just who I am. 70 trillion volts of energy your body is capable of producing. Think about that for a minute. 70 trillion volts, that's a lot of energy. So your Kundalini, when it awakens, now and I look back, before my actual, what I thought was my Kundalini awakening, I look back now, and I've had my Kundalini awoken probably for a few years, and I didn't know it. I just remember like waking up in the morning and feeling some like my lips kind of vibrating, which I thought was kind of weird. Like waking up and was like, why are my lips like, not tingly, but just like vibrating? And sitting in the chair relaxing at night, and I'd realize all of a sudden my back was like arched and contracted. I was like, that's weird, and I kind of like relaxed it. I'm like, all right. And then going back to doing something, and then realize it's already contracted again, not realizing that it just went that way. Okay, so my energy force was waking up years ago, And it wasn't until I had my spiritual awakening, which was one of those slap in the face spiritual awakenings. It was very abrupt and whatnot on my way down to Texas. And that's when I started meditating, was after my spiritual awakening in September of last year. And so I started meditating in September and started getting into more of a spiritual based type stuff, because that's what I was interested after my spiritual awakening. And then on November 11th, so 11/11 at 11 p.m., there was what I heard was like a portal, you know. So it was really what's the word for it? Good, energetically, good for you. Portals, whatever you want to call it, openings on 11/11. And so I thought, well, why not meditate on 11/11/11, right? So I lay down to meditate on 11/11/11, and boom, within probably a couple minutes of laying down, all of a sudden my body starts vibrating and twitching and moving and jerking and herking, and it was like I was breakdancing in bed. I was like, what the heck, you know? And I just remember, like, when I would meditate, I always meditate laying down with crystals on my chakras. So I didn't know anything about mudras, you know, hand mudras, you know, doing anything when you meditate. So I would just lay on the bed, palms facing up. That's all I ever used to do. And so I just remember that it felt like something was rubbing the palms of my hands. And I could almost feel like something saying, don't be scared, this is okay, don't be scared, don't be scared. And so I never, you know, I actually don't have any phobias or scared of anything. So I never really was scared of it, even though it was weird, like different, and like, why is my body like convulsing and doing this break dancing in bed, and I'm just trying to freaking meditate? I'm like, well, okay, I'm just gonna chill. And 5.5 hours later, I was just like, done. I'm exhausted. And my hands went into this while I was meditating. And I remember after about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours into it, laying in bed, you know, this is probably like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm exhausted. And it's like my arms were so like tired. And it feels like they were just like, so tense. And I opened my eyes and I looked up, and my wrists were like 3 inches above the bed. Like, my elbows were on the bed, but my wrists were 3 inches above the bed, and it felt like my fingers were locked in this position. Like, I couldn't get them apart. And it kind of burnt, you know, like burning, like really energetic, like almost kind of hurt, you know, just hot. And I thought that was really weird. So the next morning I got up and I got out my Google, and I Googled meditation, uncontrollable movements during meditation, and spontaneous hand mudra. And I got Kundalini. And I was like, what the heck is Kundalini? So I started doing some research and stuff, and I was like, wow, you know, this is kind of exciting. You know, this is something that's really like, I mean, monks and gurus and whatnot, they go into like deep soul searching for most of their life sometimes to try to awaken this amazing energy that is so enlightening. And this was spontaneous, just awoken in me. I was like, I felt privileged. I was like so excited. So what do? I was excited. I wanted to share it and get on the internet. Yay, I have my Kundalini. Anybody else have this? And it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't even know what I was walking into. Oh my God. Jeez Louise. Yeah. So people have a wrong idea about Kundalini. Let me tell you that. Holy cow. Like, even some of my best friends back home where I'm from were like, the devil, doing black magic, devil worshiping, crazy woman. I was like, what? Do you know anything about Kundalini? Like, this is amazing. This like leads to enlightenment and amazing things. I'm like, why are you saying that I'm like the devil and doing devil worshiping? I'm like, far from it. I'm like so spiritual. I'm like, I could fart rainbows and unicorns. I'm like, what? The devil. You hear that, Howie? The devil. I was hurt. I was like, what the heck? The devil. I don't think so. So I took it. I tried to talk to people about it, but every time I tried to talk to people about it, I got nothing but cursed and thrown rocks at and stones and you know, daggers in the back and told me I was evil and all these horrible things that I was like totally not even close to being. I lost probably 95% of my friends because of it. And my mom, she stuck through it with me. You know, thank God, unconditional love of a mama has, because if it wasn't for her, geez Louise, I wouldn't have anybody to talk to. The poor lady, though, I probably aged her like 20 years, you know, trying to tell her all the stuff that was going on in my head. And half the time I couldn't even get it out because my brain was so scrambled from all the energy going through it. Poor mama. Anyway, sorry, mama. Thanks for sticking with me, though, because it is amazing. But yeah, that was my Kundalini awakening. So that was 11/11, and then I didn't really have anything but, you know, when I first had my explosion, it went through all my chakras and then out the top of my head. And I just remember like the next day or two, like my chakras were like wide open. It was like the top of my head was like pulsating for 2 days. And then my third eye was just like pressure and pulsating for a couple days. And my heart chakra was like pulsating. My throat chakra was pulsating. I was like, whoa, this is really weird. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna explode. And then blissful feelings of just like unconditional love. And it was just like awesome, you know? And then the dark night of the soul hit. And that's when your ego steps in and tries to make sense of what's going on. And with not having anybody around me to help me understand or anybody to talk to besides my mother, which, poor thing, had no clue what I was going through, you know, I literally had to go through all this by myself. And I started getting more into rocks and digging rocks with my hands until my hands were almost bloody. I realize now that, you know, when you have your Kundalini awakening, you're supposed to ground your energy into the ground. Well, subconsciously, my mind is telling me I need to ground in the energy into the earth. So that was digging for rocks. And by the way, I found some amazing artifacts that way because my intuition was like on point. But I didn't have anybody telling me I needed to do this and to do that. So I had to go through all it with trial and error. And, you know, my experience does not come from books. My experience comes from hands-on, personal. And, you know, that's why I really dedicated my channel to helping others go through. Because there's a lot of stuff out there that is not true at all. Like, you can't force a Kundalini awakening. Sir, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Sorry. But you cannot force a Kundalini awakening. If it is not in your soul contract to have a Kundalini awakening, I'm sorry to say you are not going to have one. Which it does not mean that I am better than you or anybody else or anybody's better than anybody. It's just what is meant to be. Because the people that are wanting to have a Kundalini awakening, honestly, 9 times out of 10 are wanting it for the wrong reason. And it's more of an ego-based want. You're going to have a Kundalini awakening if it's sporadic, if you can handle it and you are ready for it, you know. And they talk about dangerous Kundalini awakenings. This is not dangerous at all. It's just hard to manage because you physically can't control the energy. You cannot physically control the energy. That's an ego-based thing also. And Kundalini strips you of all ego-based mentality things, period. It'll strip it from you. Because it wants you to get out of the ego and into the heart, okay? So to do that, it has to strip everything away from you. So it stripped away all my family, my friends, my business, my horse training. Everything in my life that I felt safety with was stripped from me completely until I was laid bare naked on the floor, bawling and crying like I was going to give up on life. And I almost did. It was tough. It was tough. But I made it through it, and it's absolutely amazing. And really, it teaches you that you don't need a guru to go through it. You are your own guru. If you listen to your intuition and you listen to yourself and you follow your own guidance, all the answers are right within you. And that goes for anything in life. You don't need somebody to tell you what to do. You just need to listen to yourself. Because if the advice that you give somebody else, honestly, we don't take for ourselves. See what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, another subject. So that was my Kundalini awakening experience. And, you know, Kundalini is something that is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I would never regret having mine. Was it hard and painful? Yeah, it was. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do with in my life, and doing it alone on top of it. But I had to do it alone because that's given me the experiences to help others now through this part. And there's enough people out there now that have had them, that understand them, that you can pretty much find somebody to help you. The people I found that I tried to get me to help were so ego-based that all I got was shunned, because when I started talking about my weird body movements and stuff that it was making me do, they kind of got scared of that, and so that was more the ego-based mentality. That's just part of my Kundalini awakening. It moves my body extremely weird. I mean, I've had my Kundalini energy so high sometimes during meditation when I lay down that literally my heels and the back of my head are the only thing that touches the ground. Like, I've almost levitated. I'm not bragging at all, because it was insane. You know, and I'm not trying to levitate. I'm just relaxed. I'm completely relaxed and letting my body do what it needs to do, and literally I've almost levitated. I don't want to levitate. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just letting and allowing my body to do what it needs to do. It's healed my body from all the bone spurs and deteriorated disc disease and my tumors that I've had and all the stuff that was killing my body. It's healed my body. It's opened up all of my spiritual gifts. My intuition is like on point. It's crazy. Like, it's been able to open up channels where I can channel now from the higher realms, the divine. I can channel. I've got clairaudience, clairvoyance, pretty much all of them. It's just incredible. But you have to understand that Kundalini is something that is awoken in you only for the right people. Because if it's awoken in people that don't have the right mentality and are ego-driven, those gifts can be put to the wrong use, and that is not good. So those kind of people that have a tendency of wanting to awaken their Kundalini because they want those gifts, yes, it will make you extremely powerful. Yes, it will. But it won't wake you up if you have the mentality of using those for the wrong reasons. So Kundalini is something that you are given if you are going to go into a spiritual-based practice or something that is going to help other people. That is what Kundalini is all about, is to be able to wake everything up, get you up and going, connect you with the higher realms, the divine, God, whatever you want to call it, and put you into service to humanity to help make things better. That is what Kundalini is all about. It's not about, I have the most power and I can do this and I can do that. It's absolutely nothing like that at all. Absolutely nothing like that. So don't ever think like that. And if it's your time, it's your time. And if it's not, it's not. It's nothing to be ashamed of or mad about or happy about or nothing like that. Not at all. So anyway, that was a little bit about my experience with Kundalini. My experience was absolutely crazy and insane. And I have yet to meet one person out there on this planet that has had a Kundalini energy awakening like mine. And I would love to hear from somebody. I have been searching to find somebody that has had a Kundalini awakening like mine and has the energy run through their body like mine, because it's hard to explain, it's hard to understand. The whole body movements and levitation thing is absolutely out of this world. And you can't mentally make any of this stuff happen. Like, you have to just allow. You have to pretty much surrender your whole ego and everything to Kundalini and allow it to work. But Kundalini is very smart. It's very, very smart. It is what makes the cosmos. It is what makes everything. It is what brings life. It is what formed you. So you're telling me that Kundalini is not good and it is bad and is evil? Kundalini is what forms the baby. So from the time you are conceived to the time you are made into a little bitty human in your mama's womb, Kundalini is what makes you. So don't tell me that energy is not smart. and doesn't know what's best for your body and what's best for you. So you just have to get out of the way and allow it to work and allow it to be if it is awoken in you. Don't be scared of it. Don't ever be scared of it. Just allow. But the biggest thing I can say is just learn to ground your energy. Very, very important to ground your energy, because it will literally take your energy. It's like taking a 110 and switching it to a 220. And if you can't prepare your mind and body for that switch, it'll mess with your head. And that's where a lot of people have issues, because it'll mess with your psyche. Like, there was times where I couldn't sleep for 4 days straight. Like, people thought I was strung out on drugs, which I wasn't. But it will, like, I would be tired, and then I'd go to bed around 9 or 10, and then boing, I'd be like wide awake, and then I'd be awake all night long. So what I do, I just research, you know. There'd be like a week I didn't want to eat. Like, I wasn't hungry for a whole week, and I eat everything. Like, I love food. So for me not to eat is just weird. And then it'd be a week I'd eat everything, you know. It's just really important to ground your energy, and just do a lot of research and use your intuition to discern what's right and wrong, and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And just know that Kundalini is a blessing, and if you do have it awoke, just know that you need to use that for areas and situations that can help people. That's what it's for, is to awaken everything in you. Not to just create enlightenment. That's a never-ending process. Enlightenment is something that it's a never-ending, you know, to attain. It's the process is what you're supposed to enjoy, you know, and use and help others along the way during their process. So anyway, I hope this helps. I might do another video on Kundalini a little bit later, but I hope this one helps for now. So peace out. Bye.